Welcome to Love Always Self, a podcast about connection to self, reflections of self, and how this impacts our reality.
We're all about trying to find balance, discovering tools for spiritual wellness, and creating a safe place to have loving conversations about a broad range of topics.
I'm Karista, an energy healer with a background in Reiki, nursing, health coaching, and personal training. I have a holistic mindset and believe that everyone and everything can work together in harmony so that we can create more balanced life experiences.
And I'm Shyra, a spiritual intuitive and explorer of personal truth with a background in management and finance. I feel we are all connected and guided by our own spiritual team, whom I refer to as Mount Glass, and I want to help teach you how to connect with yours.
We believe we're all connected, and by learning to love self, we will elevate the collective consciousness and learn to create deeper connections with each other, self, and source. As we grow and learn through our own life adventures and self-discoveries, we hope you gain insights into your own truth.
Don't forget to subscribe to stay notified of new content, and we hope you enjoy the show. What up? Welcome to Love Always Self. I'm Shyra.
Hi, everybody. I'm Karista, and thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Love Always Self. Hope y'all are having a great day so far, and let's pump it up a little bit higher.
Pump it up. All right.
So we were just having a really awesome conversation with a guest that we had on for the People's Journey, which will be launching in February, with Alexa Jad. And she is one of the hosts of Inner Bloom podcast, which is actually one of the first podcasts that I started listening to. And you also listened to after I introduced you to them. And we were just having a beautiful, well, we were listening a lot. She was sharing her story, of course, that is the point of the People's Journey. But there was this little piece of information that I received as far as maybe this is how we will be adjusting our lifestyles going forward, and hopefully not too soon in the future, but maybe more now. And that was this thought of starting to live intuitively. So, intuitive living.
Yes,
And
that was a great nugget drop. I was like, hold on, let me write that down really fast.
yeah, we've heard about like intuitive eating,
Mhm.
eating for your body's needs and for the betterment of the health of your body. But we don't really talk about like intuitive living
Yeah.
intuitively outside of just the eating. So I was thinking, what are some other ways that we could practice intuitive living?
Well, and that's, living intuitively. When I think of, when you said it, I was like, "Oh my God, that's a good way to say that," right? Like just in general, because the things that we've been embarking on our own, spirituality discoveries,
Mhm.
has changed the way we live.
Mhm.
And it hasn't just changed the way we live as far as like practicing meditation, but it's changed like creating a sacred space. It's changed my idea of listening to my body when I want answers on things to drink or eat or whatever, like, yo, body, what do you need? And checking in with myself on that. Um, it's changed my mindfulness towards others in my exchanges with them, not just in conversation, but energetically. I mean, it's literally kind of embarked on this whole intuitive living
Yes.
situation, right? Um,
We just haven't exactly called it that.
right.
Yeah.
So it was brilliant when you said it. I was like, oh snap! Like, yes, that's it right there.
So, intuition is like a sense of knowing, not just like a gut feeling, because that's more of like a reaction type thing. But intuitive is, I think, being open on different levels to receive information and guidance on next steps or even how to support yourself in this moment. And we want to think of this holistically. So again, stepping out of just that tiny little pie piece of food, eating intuitively pie,
Mhm.
but looking at the whole self and how can we bring in the use of intuition, of our awareness of self in promoting building up self. So I listed out like a couple just, little intuitive living
Downloads, nugget drops.
ways of living. So like I said intuitive eating, but intuitive sleeping.
Mm,
So you know, it was just recently in the industrial era that our quote unquote normal patterns of sleep were presented to the public of 8 solid hours of sleep is what you should be having. And I'm not saying that that's wrong. I'm saying that everybody's different, and a different way of sleeping may serve somebody better, like doing 4 hours of sleep,
yeah.
waking up in the middle of the night, taking care of some business, and then having another 4 hours of sleep. Or some people do well off of 6 hours of sleep, and other people do well off of 10.
Well,
Like,
and there's something to be said about that because you and I were recently talking about this because I was telling you I even on the weekends when I
Mhm.
really should I've had this mental thought process that
Should.
should see what I did
Uh,
there?
yeah.
I'm enforcing a man-made,
Mhm.
woman-made, whatever,
Human.
human-made, thank you. Um I'm enforcing this human-made process that what you just said that we've
Mhm.
designed around a working schedule
Mhm.
and that because of that I'm supposed to be sleeping this amount of stretch period of time every night. And yeah, there's, whatever health science and all that other fun stuff maybe that might have been behind it at some point in time, whatever. Anyway, I don't know all that. So,
Or manipulated to support that, and those are shady
or
pockets, but, I
You
digress.
know, you know. So, that's funny. So, and I'm having trouble lately. I'm waking up intermittently throughout the night. More like AM, like either it's 1:30, I wake up and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I can't go back to sleep." And then I start feeling stressed about going back to sleep. Like, I'm not going to get enough sleep. I'm not going to get enough sleep. And then I'll finally fall back asleep. And then there I am again around 4 o'clock, 4:30 in the morning. And I'm awake again. And I'm just like, what is this? And then I
Mhm.
find myself at that point just getting up, and I'll go to living room, trying to be quiet, and I'll try to meditate and be like, please, body, just go back to sleep. You need this. And then you introduce that, what'd you call it again?
Shift sleeping
Shift sleeping, right. And then you told me about the shift sleeping, and I was like, And then when we were talking with her,
with
recording
Alexa.
with
Mhm.
Alexa, right? And she brought up that she's been, having different sleeping patterns as well. And it's a click, right? Like it's really something to be said about the nature of listening to your body and stop the resistance factor of it,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Because a majority of the resistance that we're experiencing really has a lot to do with what we were told is how it's supposed to be.
Mhm.
And so I'm just constantly like irritated about the fact that I'm not sleeping 8, 9 hours a day,
Which is
because
making it worse.
which is making it worse. Right.
And now you have stress built up around it, which just
Yeah.
negatively impacts your ability to have restful sleep.
So it's like, okay, I
Mhm.
might be a little bit
Mhm.
more tired later on tonight, right?
Mhm.
Because I have been up since 4 o'clock this morning.
Mhm.
But that's okay. I mean, where am I gonna go? So, you know, I mean, if I need to go to bed a little bit earlier and wake up earlier, then maybe I just use that earlier time frame to be more productive before the actual work day starts on a Monday,
Or
right?
use that for self time. So self-care time,
Right.
meditating in the morning, or maybe going for a gentle walk, or, just doing some gentle movements, drinking water, Shira.
I know. Or maybe actually use that, gym equipment that I got that I never touched. Possibly.
So
Yeah.
what about, we've touched on some physical aspects of
Mhm.
intuitive living. So also utilizing our, intuitive living with um, spiritual aspects. So i-
Mm.
intuitive prayer, meditation, manifestation. So, for example, we see uh, a negative event, a story, a past hour news feed. And intuitively, it's just, oh, quick little prayer, quick little shout out of love, those kinds of things. Like that for me is an intuitive response that I just do naturally in myself
Right.
when I see that. What are some other
Well,
ideas?
here's one that I've been playing with recently. This is so
Okay.
much fun. So, I've decided to ask my body a question that I know the answer to, and then wait and feel out a sensation. So, something like, "Do I love cheesecake?" Which is an obvious yes for me, but and then I'll just wait it out, and what I noticed was my left hand, which is ironically, I'm left-handed in my writing, my left hand started tingling just on the first 2 fingers, like the index
Mhm.
and the pointer finger, right? And then I asked myself a question that I also knew was a no, right? And I noticed and I was expecting maybe a different finger on the left hand or somewhere else in my body I would feel it, but I felt it in my right hand. Just this tiny amounts of tingling, but I was sitting still enough in a quiet space to play with this little exercise. So then I just started doing this. And this is something I've been doing over the last like 72 hours. And I'm just like, what? Oh my gosh. Because remember, every cell in our body has memory.
Mhm. Mhm.
So I just started playing with this. And it's kind of working with, hey, body, check in and my intuition and encompassing it into one practice, right? Like bringing it kind of all here,
Yes.
which is really fun.
Oh, I think that's so cool. So that's similar to like muscle testing,
Mhm.
which a lot of like registered dietitians will use if they're more on like the holistic side and not just scientific, like
Yeah.
numbers
Yeah.
side. But when like you're presented with a food that is not in alignment with your body, you are noticeably weaker than when you are presented a food that is supportive of your body.
Ooh, interesting.
So interesting.
Ooh.
And what I've read about is that you can actually do this, use this modality in like decision making. What is best for my life? What is best for this going forward? And you can use that as a guide. So again, I think that's another intuitive thing. Um,
That's cool.
yeah, that we have within us. We have these tools.
And I that literally just made me think about this because you know how pendulums, you are seemingly holding a pendulum.
Mhm,
And if you don't know what a pendulum is, usually it's like you kind of looks like it's on a necklace or like some kind of chain
mhm,
or rope, and it's usually got like a pointed edged crystal sitting at the bottom of it. And you just kind of like hold it still and then you ask it a question
mhm,
and it'll swing. Or it'll go circular in like one direction on one question, for yes, and then the other direction or back and forth, whatever. But anyway, so that's how a pendulum works. However, it's actually the muscles in your body,
mhm.
even though it looks like you're holding it still, but it's your body giving it the answers and moving that. It,
Yeah, but I've seen them also where you just hook them on a hook and you don't touch them.
but your body's still
And
producing that energy.
they also respond to that vibration that
Right.
is emitted through the air that we can't see. And
Right.
I think this is just cool because I'm recognizing that we actually have so many modalities that use this body response. So the muscle testing, um, Ouija boards, which we don't play with,
No, no, no.
um, the
Sorry.
pendulum and the, dowsing rods,
Mm. Oh,
where
yeah, I forgot about the
like
dowsing rods.
yes,
Yeah.
those are insane, and let me tell you, like, I have seen it where somebody is standing there with the dowsing rods and, they're not holding the actual rods that are moving, they're holding the apparatus around it, and they'll ask, "Where is the closest source of water?" And those dowsing rods will turn and point.
Okay,
And
that's
then
cool.
you say, "Okay," and then you let it, like, re-regulate itself, whatever, and you say, "Is it in 10 feet?" And it'll say, "No." Is it in 20 feet? And yes or no. And then when you get to, okay, 40 feet, and then it says yes, then you walk 40 feet, and there's your water source.
Oh, that's cool.
Isn't that? And it can be everything. I've seen it with dog toys, like not just
What?
like elements, like,
Like somebody's just like looking for where did my dog put its toy that it's searching for or
yeah,
something. Yeah. It's like that's what I'm saying. Like you literally you can use
like
your
when
own
when
self.
when we say you have all the answers you need within you,
You really do.
we mean you have all the answers
We're being
within you.
very literal.
Let's see. Intuitive movement, intuitive
Mm.
creativity or creation, intuitive expression. And I keep thinking of all these like artistic modalities that, we've been taught, oh, that's not a good, study route. That's not going to give you a good, strong career path, like art and poetry and acting and,
You're like,
dance.
so you think, right? Right. You kind of want to go back and tell him, uh-huh, sure. That's
Hmm.
your programming that told you that.
Hmm. Hmm.
Hmm.
Um, so I think this, I'm hoping that we are shifting into a new reality where we as individuals, our we are in, I don't want to say control, but we have the creative license
I
within
like to,
our day to day. Mhm.
yeah, I like to say that, and I'm seeing this more and more just in I mean, it could be also the focus of community that, I'm on, but I'm seeing a larger and larger audience of humans really wanting to drop the judgment towards everyone else's creative spaces,
Mhm.
lifestyle choices, things of that nature. You don't have to agree on everything to coexist.
Mhm.
And so part of that comes with giving yourself permission, dropping the judgment towards yourself and what you feel others might think of you in order to expand upon your own intuition and providing yourself the freedom then to set up this intuitive living for yourself, right? So, like, the spaces that you create, the clothes that you wear, the color you dye your hair. Like, I just see us now really starting to have that forward movement towards this. Um, yeah,
Like recognizing what is no longer working and being able to step away from that, knowing that we are able to create something new and that is more supportive of living a really beautiful life experience. Even if, well, I say beautiful, um, the life experiences that we need to have for our soul growth.
right, right.
Um, I just got this image of like listening to your intuition, like knowing that this is the way that you normally go, right? If you're driving home, this is the way you normally go, but for some reason you feel called to go down this other path. And for whatever reason, you see, this person on the side of the road that, fell or something. And then you just intuitively, like you're just there, you're just being guided by this pull in life. So you're like riding the wave rather than trying to create your own wave. And then you're there and realizing that you can help and support and love somebody very briefly in this moment, just asking, hey, are you okay? Do you need anything? And then recognizing that just by doing that and stepping out of your comfort zone and loving somebody right outside of you, that you are also sending that love right back to you.
Yeah.
And you are just building this. I'm at a loss for words. You're building.
I feel like I keep wanting to say, and I keep hearing in my head, you're building a higher connection with source frequency.
Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, that all encompassing, unconditional love for one another and yourself because we're all part of the same source, right? It's that reuniting your connection
Mhm.
to everything that
Yeah.
that, that is.
And starting with that deepening of the connection with yourself
Mhm.
and your needs, where you deserve some healing, where you deserve to release judgment for yourself, where you deserve to fully accept and love. Um, yeah.
Ah, beautiful. I mean, and let's just say we get there humanity wise. We get there in where most of humanity feels this way, right? I'm living in a little world of my own at the moment, so let's just ride along, okay? But let's just say we all get there. Think about what that looks like, because that's the manifestation of the future that I want to focus on. The types of foods we would be eating that we wouldn't want to cause harm to others because we know that it causes harm to ourselves. Thus, for we produce things that are well, right?
Mhm.
um the reduction of sinful acts to whatever you want to call that, sends a judgment word, right? So but reduction of acts that would create harm
Mhm.
or a disruption to someone's process, right? um and think about what that looks like and how that unifies us and allows that decrease of judgment to others. And you just simply say, okay, you over there having a different experience, learning your own personal soul growth. I don't feel aligned to that, but cool. Good for you and what you're learning right now. And then
Mhm.
you just move on, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's not this like need to just explode and butt heads and say, you're not living like I am, so thus for you're terrible and you're a terrible person and you're wrong, and let's just get angry and aggressive about it, right? Like, you just kind of release all that when you just stop thinking that way.
Let it go.
Right? Do you want to build a snowman? I will do this. I will do this all day.
Okay, this is what I wrote down. I asked myself, what is intuitive living?
Okay.
Um, Living in a state of awareness in connection with your body, mind, emotions, and spirit, where you are open to receiving guidance and feedback and utilizing this information to support the different aspects of self in gaining experiences that support evolution and growth of your soul self.
So you're gonna put all that in show notes, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. You should write that down.
That is, yeah, I did.
I know.
That's why I'm reading it. So that's what I received when I asked my guides on what intuitive living is. So
Oh,
um,
it's awesome.
I
I
every
like to
moment.
play with spaces.
Hmm.
I like to play with intuitive spaces.
Yes.
Just saying. I don't know if you're watching and you look behind me. It keeps
Mm-hmm.
changing.
Yes, yes. There's always something new. Don't tell Stephen.
Shh. You totally hear this. We're like, what's in her office?
So every moment, if you wish to take it as such, you have an opportunity. You have an opportunity to love. You have an opportunity to grow. You have an opportunity to connect deeper with yourself, with those around you. Um, I really hope that you are able to see that you are the master creator of your life experience. And I hope that you enjoy the aha, the receiving of your power back when you realize that you can create this.
Well done. All right. I think that might be a great way to keep this short and sweet because it was so good. I would like to not keep talking. So
Intuitive listening.
I'm intuitive listening to you. All right.
Okay, so just really briefly again, we have some really great episodes coming out in the month of February. So stay tuned for our additional mini series that will be launching every week with a different guest. And we hope that you enjoy those and continue to enjoy our regular weekly episodes as well. We hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And don't forget to love first
Love last.
and love always.
Bye, everybody.
Adios. Hey, listener, thank you so much for taking the time to be with us in this moment. We hope you enjoyed today's episode, and we look forward to our next connection.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow to stay notified of new content from Love Always Self. If you have any questions or topics you'd like for us to discuss, please hit us up on any of our social media platforms linked in the show notes below.
I'm Karista.
And I'm Shyra.
And until next time, remember to love first,
love last,
and love always. Love Always Self podcast is meant for entertainment purposes only. We do not make any warranties about the completeness, reliability, and accuracy of the information presented in this podcast. Any action you choose to take upon the information in this podcast is strictly done so at your own risk, and we will not be held liable for any losses and damages in connection with the use of our podcast. Any and all medical concerns should be addressed with a licensed healthcare provider, as well as any questions that may be derived from the information discussed in this podcast.